What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel where we talk all things faith, family, fitness, and finances. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing a side hustle that I personally do that makes me over $1,000 a month. Now, the cool thing about this side hustle is that it doesn't require too much time and you can actually outsource some of it. So we're going to go right into it. All right. This side hustle is called Turo. I've talked to a lot of different people. Some people know what Turo is, some people don't. Basically, the way I explain it to everybody is it's like Airbnb for your car. If you have a car that maybe you don't use a lot and you could afford to put it on a platform like Turo, people rent out your vehicle. Now, the cool thing about Turo is that it takes care of everything as far as like the insurance is concerned. All the communications are done through the app. So they make it so easy. What I love is it's extremely simple to get in there, communicate to all these people, and it makes it simple for them to find you as well. And what's really cool is that I don't live in a metroplex area. I live in the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas. A lot of people, when I first got into Turo, people that I knew, I would talk to them about it because I was really hyped about making an extra $1,000 a month, right? And I would talk to them and they would say,
Is there even anybody to like rent the vehicles here in the valley?
I had watched some content from other creators that were into Turo, and their big thing was, hey, if there's a rental car company in your town, then chances are Turo would do really well. So it might be worth putting your car on there. Now, I have seen the rates of people renting kind of decline, but that has to do with more people joining the platform as well as travel rates kind of dropping in 2022. So it kind of just depends when you find this video or when you watch it. But as of right now, Turo is still pretty steady for me. I am an all-star host, so I kind of get bumped in the algorithm a little bit. But yeah, it's still pretty solid. And I do have one horror story with Turo that we're going to get into here towards the end. And I'm also going to share with you guys some numbers, my personal numbers. I'm going to open up my app. I'll screen record it. I'll show you guys exactly how much I made in every single month. So you might be saying, well, Ben, I do have a vehicle. How do I qualify to join Turo? Well, you can't be like a convicted felon. I think that's probably one of the only requirements. And your vehicle itself has to be under 130,000 miles when you first put it on the platform. Now, my vehicle personally, my Tacoma that I first started out with, it was under that amount, but now it's over that amount. And what's great is it gets to stay on the platform. As long as you start under 130, I think you could even have 129,000 miles, 999, something like that. And you're able to list your car on the platform. Once you do that, you do have to price it properly. When I first started, I wanted to just get people renting. And so I started out really low so that they could get a great deal. They could review my car. I was going to take good care of it, keep it really clean. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I had one guy rent it for like a week. He was in town working. I was like, oh snap. I was actually just trying this out. And this was my primary vehicle. And so I literally biked to work. I think I was like 3 or 4 minute drive to work. And so biking was like 8 or 9. And I ended up biking to work for that whole week. And then he takes a day break and is like, hey, actually, I need to rent it again. So he rented it again for another week. And at this point, even though it was the same guy renting it 2 weeks in a row, I said, you know what? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm used to kind of jumping off the cliff a little bit. I made an educated guess and I said, you know, I think this is going to work out. And so in that month, I put it full time on Turo. I ended up getting another vehicle for my wife. She needed a bigger vehicle anyway. And then I started driving hers. Hers was completely paid off. So it kind of worked out financially. And yeah, the Tacoma that I had on Turo started doing really well. Let me just go ahead and open up my phone so I can show you guys exactly kind of how it went. All right, so I'm going to take you straight into my numbers for what I earned in 2021. This is when I first started right here, August. Towards the end of August, that was my first renter. And then going into September, I quickly saw this is one vehicle. I saw, hey, this is some good money right here. Then I became an all-star host. And actually right here in October, I ended up getting another vehicle because it was doing so well. And I ended up getting a Toyota Camry, put it on there. I think my payment was only like $300 some on that car. And so I knew it could easily make way more than that based on how well the truck was doing. Now, looking back, this was when cars were even more expensive. So I probably didn't get a good deal and I took a big hit on depreciation. But at the time, I mean, I was getting a lot of cash flow on it and it's still not that depreciated. So it was like, it was an okay deal. But I would recommend if you're going to go get another car, make sure you get a really good deal or just buy one cash because within a year, guys, you can easily make up, you know, let's say you buy $8,000 to $10,000 car that's under 130,000 miles. You can easily make that up in just 1 year and then it's just cash flow after that, completely profit. So This is October, and as you can see, I listed two vehicles, $1,300. Right here, $1,400 in November. A lot of travel, obviously, with the Thanksgiving break, and December, $1,100 right here. And then the cool thing is that when you're doing Turo, you can kind of schedule. I left mine open like 24/7 because I worked really close to my house. So if there was ever like a worst case scenario, I could go in and just like vacuum it, flip it for another customer. And there is like a 3 hour window where people can't rent like back to back. There's that 3 hour gap. And so that gives you some flexibility as a Turo host, but you're able to put your hours on there. So if that doesn't work for you, then you can schedule what hours people can pick up and drop off. So anyway, yeah, that was for 2021, and I kept it going into 2022. I'll bring you guys in here. As you can see, the numbers are, a little bit better. Here we go, 1,200. I did have something happen in February. Can't remember what it was. I think I had to maintenance my truck. That's what it was. And so I took it in for some maintenance, and it took it off the platform almost for like 2 to 3 weeks, and it was kind of slow in February anyway. So anyway, that's why I was 632. Then you can see March here, a lot of people traveling, spring break. April, same thing. We got May right here, June. Now, my expenses on Turo, to give you a rough estimate, because you might be seeing these numbers and like, okay, yeah, that's not all profit. To give you a rough estimate, my bills were probably around $600 for everything. So on this month, like I'm breaking even, right? But right here, I'm making $1,000, making $900, that kind of thing. So it just depends on what your expenses are. Mine were okay. As you can see here in August, what actually happened in July, this is where the horror stories coming in. The person that was renting my vehicle did not return it. And here's the thing, I didn't even realize they didn't return it until someone else rented. And then I went to go clean the car and it wasn't outside. And I was like, wait a minute, it's been like 2 days since this person was supposed to return it. What the heck? Because again, it's very low maintenance, but at the same time, I was getting kind of lazy with it and I was just like doing it as I needed to. So that's why I didn't even realize they didn't turn it in. So I get on the Turo app and I say, hey, I think this person may have stolen my car. They haven't returned it. As soon as I called the lady, she hung up on me. So I was like, okay, like what is going on? She only spoke Spanish. And yeah, it was just a really bad situation. What ends up happening is they find the vehicle a couple days later and it was impounded by the U.S. Border Patrol because, again, I live in the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas. They tried to take illegal immigrants across the checkpoint in Falfurrias, Texas, into some other part of the nation, right? And they tried to cross illegal immigrants in my vehicle that they rented on Turo. So because of that, my vehicle got impounded by the government. It became a liability in this case, a federal case or whatever. Now, keep in mind, I'm a youth pastor, right? And we have a conference that month that we're planning. It's actually 2 weeks from that date. But what was really cool is that God gave me peace throughout the whole time. I didn't even worry about it. We ended up just submitting some info after the conference. And so it didn't take a lot of my mind on it, thank God. But yeah, it's definitely it was definitely a bad situation for us, and we didn't actually get the car back until 2 days ago. Which, I mean, we're in October right now, so as you can see, it was a really long time. This number right here is the reimbursement that Turo paid me. So 1449, they paid me basically what I would have made on that car the entire time in one go, and then some other stuff. So yeah, what was really cool is I did have the insurance through Turo, so they took care of all of it, and they told me that up front, so I didn't have to worry that even if it took 4 months for me to get my car back, that I was going to be losing money. They took care of every single aspect of it. So shout out to Turo for that. But yeah, even though side hustles are great and all, but there's always risk to it. So you have to weigh the risk to reward for yourself, because to me and my wife, we are okay with that risk because I mean, we just are. We're used to taking risks. She's self-employed. I'm now self-employed. So it's like, yeah, we're used to that kind of stuff. And it always just works out. That's the cool thing. God always just works things out. And other than that, guys, it's been great. Like, again, I've had those two cars. I actually took my vehicle off. That's why you see this really low month at the very end, just because I was getting ready for a job change. I couldn't really handle all the different stuff going on, so I took it off, and my truck's almost actually paid off completely. So now it's just like purely profit from here on out. So it can be really lucrative if you want it to be, but again, it depends where you're living. You know, how saturated is your market, and also what is your expenses on that vehicle. If your expenses are really high, it's probably not going to be a good idea for you. So yeah, that is a little bit about Turo. That's how I make some money on there. And I mean, it's decent money. As you can see, I made over like $10,000 this year, and year's not over yet. So anyway, guys, I hope that this video brought some value to y'all. If you have any questions on Turo, or if you want to see another video, there's a ton of videos on YouTube about it, but specifically for me, about any specific situation, I'd be glad to share them with you. And with that being said, guys, I'm Ben. Garcia in the next one.